Now, Seattle police are investigating how a truck ended up in Lake Washington overnight. It happened near the I-90 bridge near Lakeside Avenue South and South Day Street. Crews found the truck about 40 feet from the shoreline where the water is about 10 feet deep. Witnesses say two people swam back to shore and ran from the shoreline before Seattle Fire arrived. 2 rescue divers and 4 rescue swimmers searched the truck and the surrounding water but didn't find anyone. We will update you as we learn more.
Today we have new video showing the man accused of killing a UW student turning himself in to Bellevue police just days after the deadly stabbing. Christopher Leahy is accused of killing 19-year-old Juniper Blessing at an off-campus apartment complex inside the laundry area. This video here shows him arriving at Bellevue City Hall with his parents late at night back in May. That was just hours after Seattle police released the first images of a suspect in the case. Surveillance video then shows Leahy and his parents waiting outside the Bellevue Police Department for officers. A few minutes later, officers escort Leahy through the parking garage. He is handcuffed and walked to a police cruiser, then taken into custody. Bellevue police later turned him over to the Seattle homicide detectives. Leahy's next court hearing is set for September 24th. A judge will then review whether he is competent to stand trial after he received mental health treatment at Western State Hospital. Hi everyone, yet another food recall to alert people about, and this time it's eggs. Millions of white shell eggs and brown cage-free eggs have been voluntarily recalled because of possible salmonella contamination. The FDA has classified it as a Class 1 recall, its most serious category, meaning there is a risk of severe illness or even death. The affected eggs from Midwest Poultry Services were produced at farms in Texas. They were distributed to customers in Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi, and New Mexico. More specifically, the eggs were sold at Kroger stores in Texas and Louisiana, as well as Brookshire stores and other small retailers.
What our big priority is having people and specifically children safe.
Our municipal court judge, Neil Weiss, has spoken very strongly about, that the purpose of the court is to administer justice, not to generate revenue for the city.
We welcome in Seattle Torrent star Alex Carpenter, and it is so awesome that she's got the band team memo and she's ready to roll. I love it. Blink 182.
A huge fan ever since I was little, and when I got the memo, I had to wear it.
And it's a very hockey band. I mean, I covered the Avs for years, and their song is All the Small Things. So it's like you kind of like they're very much playing in hockey arenas.
I love it. You know, I've just kind of been in the dark on this thing, but Ariel put out the word and let Alex know this is what's going on Friday. So it's awesome that you're taking part for the first time ever, I should say, a guest on the show in a band tee.
So we're going towards the front door.
A family loses everything.
Our living room, kitchen, and then the kids' rooms are on the left side here.
It feels so much smaller than what it used to be.
So many memories, the meals.
Oh, she's the best cook ever.
The life they built.
I thought I was gonna have a hard time, but...
Dim fam.
Sorry.
And her husband raised 3 kids here.
It just didn't look like my home anymore.
I took for granted the place that, you know, brought us all together.
21-year-old Elysium finds refuge as a server at Olive Garden. A group of firefighters from California battling the flames that destroyed her family's home just happened to sit in Elysium's section.
He said, "Sit down, kiddo." They told me that not to let anyone tell me how to feel about it, and that I'm gonna process the grief of losing our home in my own way.
The free advice would have been good enough, but they wanted to do more.
And I thought that was insane. I was like, what do you mean you're fighting the fires and saving people's homes?
They left about $100 tip, but Elysium had no idea they'd be back a second night and give her a wad of cash.
I started to tear up a little bit, and I immediately tried to give back, and I was like, I can't take this from you guys. Like, you're already here doing everything you can. Why?
Altogether, about $1,000.
Pure goodness and humanity that I don't think I've really experienced yet.
I used to be pretty cynical before this, and just people sucked. But then after this, it really changed the way I see people.
This isn't where most newlyweds expect to spend the week after their wedding, but just a week and a half after Jacob Royds and his wife Rebecca got married, he's in here at the ICU at Harborview. Jacob was riding his e-scooter across the crosswalk at South Jackson and Alaskan Way Thursday afternoon when a King County Metro bus hit him. He was rushed here with life-threatening injuries, including fractured ribs, facial fractures, and spinal injuries. Rebecca says today he's awake, talking, and he's even making jokes, but doctors are still evaluating his injuries and whether they'll need to do surgery. Seattle police are still investigating the crash. King County Metro says preliminary information indicates that the bus had a green light. A GoFundMe has been set up to help with Jacob's medical costs as his recovery begins. For now, Rebecca says that she's just grateful that he's still here and for all the support that they've gotten, and she's hoping that the rest of their marriage looks a lot different than this first week.
I got a call around like 4:30 from his phone, and it was a woman who had picked it up, and I think she was a bystander to the incident, and she was saying, "Hey, EMTs are coming. Your husband's been in an e-scooter accident." I am still pretty shaky and nervous about just his condition and if things could take a turn or not, but I'm trying to remain really optimistic. We put out a GoFundMe like less than 24 hours ago, and so many people have shared it and been just reaching out and doing wonderful things. Jacob is just a wonderful person, and honestly, it's not fair what happened, but he is so loved, and we are both just so grateful for all the support we've received.
An investigation's underway into a tragic incident that happened in Pierce County Thursday night, just after 6 o'clock. That's when deputies received the call about a missing 5-year-old. They rushed in to a property in the Graham area, and they found the 5-year-old girl and a dog, an aggressive dog, guarding her on a property there. Now, they did end up needing to shoot that dog because it was blocking their path. They were able to get to the girl to try to render aid, but it was clear that she had died from her wounds. They say those wounds are consistent with a large animal attack. Now, what is underway as far as investigating this is having the medical examiner determine if those wounds came from that dog, which was a family dog that lived on that property, or if it came from another animal. That's work that's underway and that could take days. What we do know is the girl was at the property with her grandmother visiting a family friend. So this is a very difficult situation for all involved. We'll continue to track it and bring you updates.
So we were on our way to work. We were on Highway 99 in Linwood, and we were just driving like normal. And then I was driving, and then the car behind me lights me up with his lights, and I pull over into an empty dealership. And then as I pull over, about 6 other cars come in and swarm us around, so as if we couldn't escape.
Mike McDonald talked to players individually about him. He talked to Jalen Milroe about him, his college teammate at Alabama. Milroe told me that he's his best friend. But Arnold is his best friend. Carl Scott, as the defensive backs coach for the Seahawks, recruited Terrion Arnold to Alabama 2019-2020 before Carl Scott left to be the Minnesota Vikings defensive backs coach. So they have some people in their building who are more familiar with Terrion Arnold than a lot of people in the NFL are. But again, football wins. And Mike Macdonald thinks that his abilities as a pattern match corner to do some of the things that the Seahawks and Macdonald like to do on defense is where the fit is here. It's almost a no risk from the Seahawks point of view. And Macdonald's saying all the right things today about we're going to let the respect the judicial process and the legal process in Florida to play itself out. But again, that may take a while because his next hearing isn't until after the 4th Seahawks game of the regular season. In the meantime, he's out on bond. And in theory, the Seahawks think he may be able to play even in the preseason. Macdonald said he didn't know whether that would be in a matter of days. I'm expecting them to be on the field on Monday, and it's going to be a ramp up for him to get in football shape because he hasn't been in pads since the end of the Lions season back in January.
Look, I'm an old guy. You know, Bobby Carpenter was one of my guys back in the day. You know, your dad, former Bruins star, played for the Capitals, some other teams as well. Mom, Julie, competitive figure skater. What kind of influence did your parents have on you growing up?
Yeah, you know, they let me play whatever sport I wanted and let me fall in love with whatever sport I wanted. So it ultimately was hockey, and you know, they were insurmountable in teaching me how to skate, the little things about the game, and especially my 2 younger brothers. So, you know, I was really lucky to have that family dynamic push me.
I grew up in Michigan, so a lot of my friends built the rinks in the backyard, you know, the boards and the plastic and all that stuff. Did you guys have something like that in your backyard?
We did. Every time we moved, my dad would pack up the boards and the plastic, and he would put them on the truck and move them from city to city. But yeah, even one year he painted some lines on the ice, so he really went all out with it. But we enjoyed it.
How did he pull that off? Painting lines on the ice in the backyard? Was it?
Yeah, well, it didn't work out that well. The ice came up, and then we had red and blue paint all over us. But it was fun for a little while.
I'm an investigative reporter, but I'm also a dog mom to this little lady. And this is one quick investigative tip that I always do before I take her to a new veterinarian. First thing you want to do is Google this, the American Association of Veterinary License Lookup. Once you're on this page, you can see that they have a search box where you can find the licensing board for any state in the country. And for most of them, you can look up someone by their name. I'm going to look up someone who actually got in trouble for veterinary problems in New Jersey to show you what exactly to look out for. So this is what to look out for. You can see that the license status over there says voluntary surrender. And when you click on his name, it's actually going to bring up even more information on when the license was issued, when it was supposed to expire, and how the status is voluntary surrender. And the status change reason is because of a board order. Down here, it also gives more information involving an attorney general complaint. So if you just go and search for this veterinarian's name, and then I just typed in the state there, New Jersey, it pops right up with what happened with the attorney general. You can see he agreed to permanently retire from practice after some serious problems involving inadequate treatment of several animals in his care, leading to their untimely deaths. And that's why you should always do this before taking your pet to a new veterinarian. Make sure to follow for more investigative tips and tricks.
I just read an interesting and frankly concerning report today by the Global Network on Extremism and Technology. This is a British-led organization that uncovers the use of technology by hate groups, for example. What this new report says is that extremist groups have co-opted AI fruit slop. This is a low-quality AI trend on platforms like TikTok, where fruit or vegetables are characters in soap opera-like stories. A lot of this is absurd, and sometimes it's harmless, but GNet has found that extremist groups, both foreign and domestic, are using this style to lure in young, impressionable recruits to their cause. Because it's so cartoonish, it may slip by the safety features that are supposed to catch violent or hate-filled content. The report says these videos often turn gory and brutal, so it's a cartoon that's delivering the extremist group's violent message. The report says these platforms, especially TikTok, need to develop countermeasures to identify and stop this material before it spreads.
I'm Jose Cedeño coming to you from Newlywed, checking out this glamping village.
We are at Ileana's Glamping Village. Deanna's Glamping Village. It's part of Mike's Beach Resort here in the Olympic National Park. This is for people wanting to connect to nature, but perhaps wanting to go up a step from your camping experience. This is my mom's kind of brainchild. This is really her creation, a very unique take on a glamping village, very her.
The idea really came at the right time. This is the time for us to open a place where people can stay and be in contact with nature and just different to a hotel. I think this is a little bit of paradise, just like a little village.
Tents, we've got a small tent. It's got like a double bed in it, and then we've got medium tents, and then we've got large. So we've got some with king-size beds in them, chandeliers, dining tables, futons, mini fridges, coffee makers. The glamping village has flushable toilets, also showers. We've got a nature trail. It's a really special part of the property. It's all the way in the back of the glamping village. It is my favorite spot on this property.
I'd tell him I loved him. I loved him like a brother. He's such a wonderful figure in life, and like an example of how to be a man or a person or just a human being. He's just commuting to work on his motorcycle like he did every single day of the year. Unless it was icy or raining, he'd drive that same bike all year long. And someone ran into him, and then it was a hit and run. They just drove off, and they left him there to die on the road. Not just her and a couple kids, it's her, all 7 of Jeff's kids, and his mother-in-law all live in the same house. And Jeff is the one that supported this entire household.
Drug maker Eli Lilly has sued 6 companies, most based in Texas, claiming they're playing with patients' lives by selling retatrutide. This is a promising new weight loss drug that Lilly has been investigating in clinical trials. The lawsuit points out that these companies, one pharmacy, one California med spa, and the other's online telehealth sites, are making guinea pigs of their customers. That's because the FDA has not yet approved retatrutide for human consumption. This is a more powerful drug than the GLP-1s that you've heard of, like Ozempic and Wegovy. Retatrutide is sometimes called a GLP-3 drug because it targets 3 receptors to suppress appetite, and the data shows that it works very well. Here in Seattle, our King 5 investigation, Selling Skinny, has exposed how some companies have been recklessly manufacturing and selling GLP-1 drugs. The nonprofit Partnership for Safe Medicines has been warning about the emergence of illegal retatrutide. It says authorities need to do more to crack down on these companies because of a broad and serious danger to patient safety.
I'm excited to see him go rip it. I mean, he's really improved his game, and go be himself. Like, I think the cool thing about our system and what we want from our players, especially the quarterback position, is like there's different styles. Like, you have to be like your own. Like, Sam's great because he plays Sam's brand of ball. Drew, I want Jalen to feel empowered to play his brand of football, and go be himself out there and like let that shine. Which he's done in practice, and so it's time to do in a game situation. So I'm really excited for that.
He's looked really good. I mean, he's throwing the ball very confident. I think that's the biggest thing as any player out here. You want to make confident decisions and then go let it rip. And I think J Mill's really taken a stride this camp, and again, another guy on Saturday that I'm stoked for him to just go out there and show what he's got.
The defending world champion Seattle Seahawks would love to make it 2 in a row, but what's the true recipe for success? You could point to this guy, Ernest Jones. Talk about a guy who knows adversity. He talked all about it on the Richard Sherman podcast. He had been traded to his 3rd team in just 1 season, the season prior. He started in Los Angeles with the Rams, won a Super Bowl, didn't expect it to be traded to Tennessee, where he thought his career was over. Then Tennessee came to him and said, "We're trading you to Seattle." In his words, "I couldn't get to Seattle fast enough." And in his first full season with the team, he found himself defending his quarterback after a Week 11 loss to his former team, the Rams, and that changed everything.
and you were like, hey, if you got something bad to say about Sam, you know what I mean? You got something bad to say about me.
100%, yeah.
And I think that meant something to him. I think that meant something to the team. And you guys, I don't think you lost another game.
Yeah, we haven't lost since.
Haven't lost since.
Haven't lost since.
Yeah, the Seahawks embracing that 12 as one mentality. Will it pay off again? We'll find out on the field.
This is the reality so many people are facing in Spokane as evacuation orders are reduced and they're getting a chance to get back into the neighborhoods. You can see the total destruction directly behind me. Burned out cars, houses completely leveled down to just ashy rubble. But beyond that is a busy street that just reopened. It's so hard to balance the sight of routine traffic sandwiched between all of this destruction and then those homes way off in the distance that look like they weren't even touched by fire. In all, hundreds upon hundreds of structures have been destroyed, and now as people are going back home or to what was home, they are getting a heavy dose of reality that their lives, their livelihoods have changed forever.
ICE recently put out documentation that they're looking for turnkey facilities that could serve as detention facilities for their detainees. Many people are concerned that that could mean that ICE is interested in purchasing the Northwest ICE Processing Center in Tacoma, which is currently private. It's owned by the Geo Group. So according to that document, the facility has to have a minimum of 1,500 beds, has to be 30 driving miles away from the field office in Tukwila, and it has to be able to provide housing, medical, mental health care services, food services, detention services, guard services, as well as transportation. And a lot of people are saying that does sound like the Northwest ICE Processing Center and nothing else. It also says that it has to be ready to serve within 30 days. We have reached out to ICE to ask about this, and they did not name the Tacoma Detention Center by name, and they also said that this request for information was purely for market research purposes only.